Welcome, tourist, to another episode of Tabletop Tour Guides, where I'm one of your hosts, Drew, and with me I've got your other host, John.
Yeah.
And today we've got a couple of things that we want to go over for episodes coming down the pipe. We want to do a New Year's resolution one. We've got a couple of other ideas for game topics, but John had a great idea of the dust has settled. The dust has settled. The war of the new editions is over. And
there were some triumphs and some losers there.
Yeah, for sure. And some hidden heroes. So some real winners that were like sleepers. And John had the great idea of like let's quickly, just sooner than we anticipated, visit the tier list, because the additions did change a good chunk of what we've seen. But with that, though, before we get too far into this, John, what are you drinking tonight, and what have you been up to?
Sadly, I'm not drinking anything tonight. I came empty-handed. I had water earlier, but I've already finished it. What have I been up to? I have been trying to get my WarCrow here and built for
Nice.
so I can start playing that. I have Infinity stuff I still need to build, and then I have an interest in trying to get a Kingdom Death Monster board game kind of going, so I've been building those models as well.
Yeah, how are you liking those minis?
The minis are okay. I mean, some were hard to put together. The instructions were bad here and there, but the minis look great. Once I kind of like do a little resin fill for a couple of gaps here and there, I expect these things to just look amazing, and I can't wait to hopefully you'll be in the group and I can get one more person who I'm looking for with my wife, and we'll be able to start playing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, and I'm excited as well. If I can manage the time for it, it'd be awesome. So, well, I've been drinking some Diet Dr. Pepper. Not my go-to choice, for the record. The store when I was eating a drink did not have any Coke Zero, so I was like, and not a lot of places have Dr. Pepper Zero yet either. So, kind of, got to pick what you can. I'm a big diet soda guy, so having a little bit of Diet Dr. Pepper, not the worst of it all. It's better than Diet Coke. But what I've been doing is being unemployed still, and so that's been a ton of much. But we had an Infinity tournament yesterday, which I want to give kind of a shout out for it. Unplugged in Edmond, Oklahoma. We had an Infinity tournament with 12 people, and I believe 5 of them were from Kansas City. Or Kansas City. I can't remember if some of them were from like Wichita and some were from Kansas City, like Missouri / Kansas. I don't know. I'm trying not to offend the Kansas City people, because
you already have. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's too late. They met me yesterday. They know how this goes. So big shout out to Papa Chew, Corey, who won it all with Onyx Contact Force, though, Combined Army. And then Recon and War Panda, who got second and third with Cosmoflot, and I can't remember which JSA it is, but it's one of the JSA sectorials. I'm still getting a little familiar, but it was really fun. It was the first like proper N5 like turnout for us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rules questions, which no surprise there. Unfortunately, the wiki isn't updated yet, so I had to have the rules PDF up the whole time. I didn't get to play, which now that I'm looking at, though, is probably for the best, because I would have been really struggling.
A whole bunch, yeah.
Fair. None of my games would have been able to finish, I think. So, but it was exciting. It was really cool to get to see different tactics and stuff, and different lists and different ideas. Corey kind of helped me. I'm playing vanilla Combined Army, so he kind of helped me see some different options. And then nobody in our local scene plays Ariadne, and they brought, I believe, at least 2 Ariadne players. So that was a nice little mix up.
I should contact Kyle about getting his Ariadne.
You should. We don't have a dedicated Ariadne guy, and I'm needing all the practice I can for Adepticon. My intention is still to go. So, but
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's all been going on with me, though. Painting, I'm trying to start speaking of Adepticon, try to get my Golden Demon stuff wrapped up, and then also just playing a lot of these games that we're about to go over. So that's what I've been doing.
You know, what I was most jealous from hearing about your free time that you have right now is you built 150 Skavens.
Oh, no. No, you weren't supposed to let the internet know I'm a filthy rat player. So, yeah, I ended up, oh my gosh, I ended up getting 3 of the Skaven Tide boxes.
That's crazy, man.
Like, I think you and I both got one and split it. So
Yep.
that was like, that's 2 of the 3. And at the time, that was like, I think that's like 80 clan rats.
Yeah. You
And
were overflown by all that stuff.
right. It's like 80 clan rats, a bunch of Giselles. I can't remember. I don't think they're called Giselles anymore, but like the long rifles and the shields. And then like it's like 2 of the big cannons and then a bunch of the heroes.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, man, if I remembered right, the most clan rats you could run was 120. And so I was like, well, if I'm gonna have to paint 80 clan rats, might as well have the whole lot.
Time to get to triple digits, guys.
Yeah. The upside is like, so I can't actually say I built 150 models because technically I think I only built like 140-ish because I didn't end up building all the heroes.
Okay,
but it's just easier just to say I built 103 boxes, right? Because I gotta admit though, it is a little bit of a bummer because there's not as much overlap on the heroes as I thought there would be. Like I thought I would actually need multiple engineers and multiple Graciers and multiple clan lords. But really you just need like one of each. So, but I got 9 rat ogres. I got 12 of the sniper guys. I got 3 of the big blasters, and I got 120 clan rats. So,
I mean, yeah, just getting on the field with you is going to be like, so do I just lose because of the sheer number? Like,
right. And there's like, I think there's even like one of the indexes, or I don't know what they call them in Sigmar, is like you can bring a unit back like every turn. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, like, okay, all right, let's do this. 120 rats.
The good old war scroll and be like, oh, look at all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm just hoping that I get it all painted before another edition comes out. So
yeah, so that is one thing. I painted like 3 models of my Stormcast Eternals, and then all these new editions start coming out, and I took a break. And now I'm like, okay, I need to get these done. And, I might have to send them where I can.
I have all this time.
I need somebody who can paint them. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Oh man. But we'll need to get some Sigmar going. Sigmar is a pretty good game, but I don't want to talk about how good it is yet.
Yep.
We've got a tier list. It's on the list. So, John, this is your brainchild. Where do we start at the top, start at the bottom? What do we want to do?
Of course, we start at the bottom. I mean, those are just
tier.
Yeah, the dog shit tier.
Yeah. And I believe it's showing. I'm sharing the screen here. So for you guys watching on YouTube and stuff, we went ahead and rearranged the tier list how it was when we last did it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move things up and down as we go, and then podcasters like that are just listening, or fellows that are on YouTube, with it driving or whatever, we'll go over the whole thing audibly at the end here, so you guys know where we put everything. So all right, John. Well, if we're starting at the bottom, we talked a little bit about this beforehand. I don't really think there's a lot to say about the dog shit tier.
Yeah, it's basically saying, so you got your Warcry, Ice and Fire, Bolt Action, Conquest, and Warhammer: The Old World.
Yes.
And it's surprise, don't think anything's really changed for them. Now, Bolt Action,
I don't either.
We've talked about that before, and some people, say it's a better game, but I just see it down there. I'm sorry.
I would give it at least the honor of being top of the dog shit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
like if you're cool
cherry on
with
the
it,
top of dog shit.
Yeah. What is it, like a pig in a dress is still a pig? Like
that's right.
Because I want to give it some credit of like it did at least get a new edition, and it is better than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not a game that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in playing.
I'm hoping we're in 2025 now, so I'm hoping Games Workshop's going to do something with Warcry. But honestly, when you're talking Age of Sigmar, this is the miraculous thing. The bigger battles are so much better than the smaller skirmishes on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, it just needs a new edition. It's kind of weird we haven't got one yet, but maybe we'll get one this coming summer or something.
Yeah. Then we just to keep recapping, Song of Ice and Fire. Hey, it was cool. You guys, we all got the Game of Thrones hype on, and then it died.
Yep.
That's the bad thing about,
I believe our local store's even selling it for like 50% off now.
Oh, I've been going to other stores, and they're just like they're bundling like multiple packages just trying to get off their shelf.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's
and then
just
and
not
then a
even
game
there.
that's not even on shelves is Conquest. Uh, so yeah,
This
it's
has a following that I would love to meet one of those people who wants to explain to me why this game is good.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'll see if something we've talked about is 99% certain I'm going to Adepticon here. It would have to take some crazy stuff to stop me. But if I go, I'll try to get it. Maybe answer some questions from Conquest players
Give
when
me
I'm
a
there.
short in an interview,
Yeah.
short with
Why should
somebody.
we play Conquest? Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
or
cool.
half your army doesn't get on the board while the enemy gets everywhere.
I'm pretty sure that's changed. I don't
It
think that's
has
a rule
changed.
anymore,
No,
but that's
no, but
still
it's still a
rough start.
slugfest. I mean, you are
Yeah.
still talking the rules and the secondaries are all still messed up, and it's just
Well,
a slugfest. Every game I've ever watched of it, it's just like, hey, did I hit you? Did I get a little bit luckier on my rules? Okay, cool.
well, if I get a chance to, I'm gonna try to do a bunch of reels and interviews and stuff if I can help it. I'll try to get a Conquest guy to answer me some questions. I'll
To
even
go
just
to
ask him, why should I play this game?
maybe you can find a couple people and be like, so you developed this game? Tell me
Oh my
what.
gosh, that would be sweet. Oh my gosh. Speaking of a game that people developed and no one is playing, I don't know why it's in C tier even, but War Machine. Uh,
War Machine is going down. It's got to go down. I mean, it's
you
just
think
not
it's gotta
even
go
there.
down?
Yeah, it's not even there. I don't see a single store around here wanting it. I don't see a single.
It's even worse than Bolt Action. Like,
yeah. No. You got to put it.
I think it's almost the bottom.
Yeah. Tell me where I find anybody. I think I've tried to watch people play War Machine, and I cannot find hardly any videos that are posted recently.
I've seen people playing Bolt Action in the last year. I've seen people playing Warcry in the last year. I've seen people playing Song of Ice Fire in like the last month. I've seen people playing Old World in the last year. I've not seen anybody playing Conquest or Warm Hordes in the last like year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. So that's our first demotion to dog shit. And just a quick little sidebar on that. Matt from Mini Wargaming, who I just love him to death. I would consider him a friend. We do the narrative every year. He's got a channel. I don't mind plugging him. He's got a channel, a sub channel of Mini. Him and Dave both have their own channels now for Mini Wargaming, and he did a video actually on a like a commentary about from like 13 years ago when GW did some like crazy online rules or like you can't sell stuff online anymore. Definitely would suggest go watching that because it gets into like a little bit of the inner politics of Games Workshop and its retailers. But he mentions kind of privateer press in that. He's like, this isn't that video, but where are they at? Right? I'm like, all right.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. So John, start us with the top of C tier, Blood Bowl. Where's Blood Bowl?
Okay, so Blood Bowl is still that game where I'm sorry, but the video game is still down the miniature game in terms of, being able to find people. But if you can find a community and you guys can foster a league, it is still fun. It is still a fun, like, hey, let's run this maybe 2 times a year and run a league and do playoffs and all that and have this whole little, like, game going. I mean, even recently they've started selling some of the classic models and their looks from the original like Blood Bowl way back when. But it's such a great game, and I mean they're always, at least for the gaming version, they've always updated some stuff or released new factions. Now on the miniature side, you can get those factions already, and it's still pretty balanced. It still has a variety of play styles, so you can choose a style that you like. I mean, it could be the orcs and be brutish to your opponent. You could be the wood elves to be all nimbly
Dodgy.
Yeah. So it's just fun for all, and it's definitely a beer and pretzel game and having just a good time. If you are here to be, I gotta win, then that's probably not the competition you want.
Yeah. I think the reason we put it here to begin with is that it was technically like a B tier game but it got moved to C tier because you couldn't play it all the time.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think it still is that, which is kind of what you were just saying. So does that though, with what we've been defining as the tiers, does that deserve it to still be in C tier?
I still think it's better than any of that stuff in D tier. I still think it can still live at C. Now, is it the top of C? No, but if I can get, and I'm still hoping to, it's 2025. I'm still hoping maybe in March to discuss with you guys to like get something started in April or maybe May.
Yeah, a little
get a
spring league. Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep it where it's at then?
Yeah, I love it being C.
Okay. then all right, you got another one here to gut punch me with here on WarCrow, John. You had some things you wanted to say.
Oh yes, Corvus Belli. How do you drop the ball this bad? This is a game. You know what? I would honestly put this lower than Conquest. I would find the pile of shit and dig it below that shit because that is where that's where it belongs. I'm sorry.
Wow.
The game is fun. I enjoyed the game, but when your game is out for how many months has it been now? 6 months, and you still don't have more than 2 factions unless you buy the Adventure or Adventure.
October, November, December. It's been 4 months.
4 months. Sorry. So looking at I'm looking at their products and stuff. They got a couple more heroes, got a couple more units, but it's still nowhere even near a complete game.
Yeah.
I can't start running tournaments with just this. I can't start running great things with this. So
yeah, it's almost like it's unfair to even rank it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a miniature game that we've played, and
no, I'm saying we should definitely rank it, but like it's so ambiguous of a game right now that like we can't, like, it has to be just D because the fact that it's not, you can't even play it. Right?
It's an incomplete game. Yeah. I mean, how do you come out and be like, hey, I'm going to start telling you guys to play my game, but it's incomplete?
I think it's higher than WarCrow. I'd put it below Bolt Action. Here's the thing. Because we've seen people play it in the last year because those people were
because it's only 4 months old now. If I told those people today that you weren't going to get new factions, which where are all the new factions? Like I thought we were promised new factions by now.
They are out. So like their timeline is still correct. So this is my issue with it, but I'll discuss the timeline first. The timeline was orcs and humans, or whatever, the black and gold humans, until WarCrow Adventures came out. And WarCrow Adventures just came out basically in December because it all got delayed in 5 and WarCrow Adventures did. And in WarCrow Adventures, you have the Scions of Yaldabaoth. So that's a whole faction.
That's being sold in a different game than WarCrow.
That's not how it's marketed though, because everything in WarCrow Adventures is compatible with WarCrow proper.
Okay, but understand what I'm saying right now. If I pull up the store, which I have up right now, and I look in there and I'm looking under WarCrow, I see 2 factions and that's it. I don't see 3.
Which store?
The Corvus Belli store. Like, I'm on the official store.corvusbelli.com.
I mean, I guess if you want to cut hairs, you can, but like that's still a faction that's out.
I mean, it's still a faction that's out, but it's not being sold as, like, if people don't do the research to be like, hey, this Adventures is also compatible, But again, it's still an incomplete game no matter what. I'm sorry.
I mean, my issue with it is that WarCrow Adventures production quality is trash from what I've seen. So the third faction that we got just looks like poop. Like, I would never buy the WarCrow Adventures unless I wanted it for the board game.
It's just your WarCrow. At least
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's for different reasons. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
I agree that it's D tier, but I just think that, I mean, honestly, like, so here's the other thing too. If you said, Drew, let's play one of these D tier games, right? I would still pick WarCrow over Conquest, Warmahordes, Old World, Song of Ice and Fire, Warcry, but I don't even know how to play Warcry. Where do you find the Warcry rules? I'm not going to go buy a 5-year-old rule book. And like, technically we could play Warcry because we own Warcry models, because we own Sigmar models, but we also own WarCrow models. And I will say this though, the only thing that sticks WarCrow above the rest of these would be the fact that the WarCrow models are amazing. Despite
the WarCrow models are good.
The WarCrow Adventures flop sucks, but like all the WarCrow proper minis are amazing.
Okay. I can give you that.
I'm fine with it being dog shit. I mean, it is.
If you told me we had to play one of those D-rank games, I would probably
what would you pick.
I would choose Bolt Action. Just the one that I'm like. And I hate history things like that.
That's why I'm keeping Bolt Action to the top for sure.
Yeah.
I'm with you there too. Like that. Sorry,
but I hate Bolt Action, so I like. Sure. You like it on the top because I understand why it's on the top. But for me, it's like I don't like those. I like fantasy versus history.
Fair. But yeah, I think Bolt Action. Like, and the chance of me getting to play this game, this is the order, right? It would be bolt action. You have a higher chance to get me to play bolt action than any of these games.
That's fair. That's fair.
Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you then. I'm following. So,
All
right.
I've stumped on WarCrow too much. Let's go to your game, man. Let's go to Kings of War.
Our buddies over at like Brawlhalla and Corvus Belli and Warsenal and everybody who we love is just like crying right now because we love Infinity, but we can't. WarCrow is so bad.
It's a company, and they're like, okay, I have this amazing game, and we rated our only S tier game, Infinity. Okay, well, how do we F this?
How do we have so a bad D tier from the same company?
Oh, it just kills me.
Oh, you're right. And it makes me so sad too. Because again, the minis are awesome. And the idea is awesome. We played it, putting it so high.
Like, I enjoyed the magic, I enjoyed like I don't remember what it was, but like the rebound of the spells, or you would start getting plagued if you
like stifles or whatever they were.
Yeah. And it was so great.
Yeah. Oh man. So I think the issue is not necessarily WarCrow's idea and concepts and rules. It's just where it's at. It has a chance to become S tier again, but it's not looking like it will be S tier for like a year, maybe even longer.
Maybe, I don't know yet. I'm maybe we'll visit again in 2025.
I mean, we'll have to do. Yeah, we're gonna do the tier list more than now. We'll see. We'll see it again. So, all right. So Kings of War. Man, honestly, so Kings of War is just kind of. It is a game that is just what it is. Mm-hmm. It is. There's hardly anything ever changing in it. Hardly anything ever bad or good happening to it. Like they keep the game balanced, they keep it fun, the community keeps it fun. It's a good game, the good rules, good minis. Well, because you can use whatever minis you want, but I think it's still C tier. I think I would still rather play Kings of War than anything in D tier right now. But I'm gonna move it to the bottom of C tier because they actually have made a change with these like command dice that like add random elements to the game now. And I'm like, the reason I wanted to play this game was because it wasn't RNG heavy. It was actually balanced and well-written rules. And I feel like that just was like an unnecessary inclusion to have a random element now added to the game.
I think it is a great game. I think the RNG element isn't too bad. Now, there are some games where you just get super unlucky, you roll terribly on your courage, and then it swings really hard. Like you're kind of screwed sometimes. Rarely does that happen. It is a very well balanced game. I enjoy it for how simplistic the rules are. I also enjoy it because although they might not make the best models, I can go out and print off whatever I want. Yeah. So yes, I agree. It's probably the bottom of. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it's the bottom of C on this list.
Whoa.
Not right now, yeah. I'm looking at other things.
Because you've got something else you want to talk about, which is Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, Star Wars Legion.
Oh,
how do I crash a game harder?
Dude, John, you're the bad guy of this episode.
I am the bad guy.
This is why when we have two Johns in our Discord, everybody, we have two Johns in our local store's Discord. And there's John, and then there's John. And so John has been AFK for a minute. This John, tour guide John, has been AFK for a minute. So I have just been saying that John hates us and doesn't love us anymore. And like, he's evil John. And so our other John's Discord handle now is not evil John. And because otherwise because the rule of the Discord is you have to have your actual name in your name. Mm-hmm. So when they're both Johns, it's confusing. So he's not evil John. And John, tour guide John, is proving why he is evil John with this episode. He's proving it.
I don't think I'm proving why I'm evil. I'm just always evil.
Oh, okay. No. You're always right. And you're always
the good guys, but no, Star Wars Legion, I just, the new rules, it seemed fun. It seemed great. There are some things I do like. There's a lot of things I don't like. And honestly, it killed the game for me.
I think it's just incomplete. It's a WarCrow issue. It's better than WarCrow because you can actually play the game right now. But we got half an edition basically released, and we're waiting on the other half.
Yeah.
So Rebels 2.0,
you got the Rebels coming out, which is great and all, but my faction took a hit. I enjoyed playing Echo Base Defenders, and
Yeah.
whenever I have preferred positions, cool, I'm on the map a little bit more. But hey, me with Scout 3 and all that crap gets to know where all your stuff is and kind of
Still get to the same spot.
yeah. So
Later.
I just get screwed
Yeah.
every time, and I'm like, cool. So these guys are all just garbage. I'm glad I finished them. So the game is way imbalanced in my opinion.
It was a rough time to like get into the game, and then for them to like having no warning sign drop a new edition and then say it's not a new edition.
Yeah. It's not a new edition. No. This is Star
a
Wars
whole new game.
Legion shit.
Yeah. So you're putting Legion at the bottom?
I'd rather play Kings of War with my Legion stuff than play Star Wars Legion.
Okay.
I've honestly thought about throwing those things in the garbage because I'm mad. I've spent hours and hours and hours building them.
You're not going to hear any
them.
complaints from me. I think Legion is not
so
D tier. I'm not going to make it dog shit, but I think it is. I'll give it bottom of C for sure.
You want to have a fun time with that? You have to bring a tournament list. Your opponent has to bring a tournament list, and that's the only way you're going to have fun. You're never going to play beer and pretzels again because it's not there.
And for the record, that could be a community issue. That could be, something not necessarily wrong with the game itself, but like the game should be balanced at a point where you could still just be able to bring fun stuff. So, but speaking of thematic list and games and fun stuff, we've got Middle-earth strategy battle game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is one that I've been playing a lot lately. John has not had a chance to wet his beak on it yet. And I say a lot lately. We just got a community for it, like the first week of January, and we've been playing every Thursday except for one Thursday that we had to not be able to do because of weather. So I've played like 3 games on Thursdays, and then we had a big game day with like I think 12 or 14 people come out just to play last Saturday, and I got like 3 games in then. So I'm still not a master, and I guess I played a game today on TTS before we hopped on.
Now, granted, let me say something about TTS. I know, we're all about, trying to be at homes, but I love TTS for one aspect and one aspect alone. I can try out a list before I buy all the stuff for it.
Yeah.
Especially a game I'm trying to get into. Like, in SBG, I want to know what my good list is going to be. I want to know if I'm buying the right things. Definitely would love to run, my lists on there first before I buy and start meeting everybody again.
And I'm not normally a fan of it. I'm pretty anti TTS. I think it goes against like what a store, needs, which is like people, actually coming in and playing in it. It's also anti-community. People who live on TTS, I'm not a big fan of that. But I agree with everything you just said. Like, it is a great way to like try something out. Like, I'm not going to go do a TTS tournament, but there's a lot of Forge World models in Middle-earth that are expensive. Like, we were just talking about it. Like, I think if I wanted to get Birder, the like Troll Chieftain, he's like $80. Well, what if he just sucks? Like, I'm not going to go buy him if he's just trash. So I'm going to try this, Karn Doom list a few times and see if I actually like it. And then the model's cool enough to where it'd be worth buying it. But, I'm with you there. And this is a very small exception. I don't normally make this exception for TTS, but I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the actual game.
Yeah, let's talk about the game. Go ahead.
So no, go ahead. What were you gonna say on TTS? I know
I was just gonna say,
you love it.
I do love to play TTS, at night whenever I can't make it to the store for any reason or I work late or anything. But if I can ever have a choice, I would always come into the shop, of course. Yeah. I love the community I have locally more than the TTS community.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. So Middle-earth, man.
Yeah.
Dude, we were so anti Middle-earth, like about it, like just a little over a year ago. Last January, we tried to play it, and you weren't, I think, part of the initial like test group, but like you were keeping up with it with us, right?
Yeah.
We all hated it. We hated it. It was so bad. It was so bad. The rules just were too all over the place and complicated, poorly written, and it was just sucked. It just sucked. And then we got the new War of the Rohirrim box, and we're kind of like, man, it looks like it might be a little better, newer models, like, all right. And then we put it in C tier, I think, because it was like, it's kind of bad, but not so bad that we couldn't play it, and maybe it's going to get better. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I am this close, John. I'm like this close to putting an S tier.
S tier. Whoa.
Let me tell you where I'm at with it. There's one other game on this list that I won't say that I have the same feeling about.
Okay.
First of all, the fact that I went and played TTS is a big sign. I want to play this game all the time. Like, and I've not even won a game yet, and I want to play this game all the time. List building is super fun. Every list you play is thematic. There are no vanilla lists. Like there are technically, but like even then they're really not. But like every list you build for the game is a scene from one of the movies or books. So I'm playing Rohan, and I'm gonna play Riders of Theoden. I can only bring Theoden, Aemir, Eowyn, and Cavalry. So when I play that list, it's nothing but cavalry charge. And it is badass. And then I get all these abilities that are like one of the abilities is called Death, which is what Theoden screams. And like that once a game, my army on a charge gets a ton of bonuses. Another list I really like is Aemir's Riders, which is Aemir, right? The younger, like the prince, essentially. His nephew, not technically the prince, but with those Lord of the Ring fans. Isaac called me out at the store the other day, apparently from our last episode with Middle Earth. I said Barad-dûr instead of Dol Guldur for some stuff, but so I was like, golly, I gotta watch my back now. These Lord of the Rings fans are here.
They'll come and get you, man.
They'll come and get me, bro. They're finding me. So, but Aemir, like the scene where Aemir and Gandalf show up at Helm's Deep to like save the day, that's a list. And so the list is just Aemir and Gandalf and nothing but cavalry. And then like
awesome.
There's a once per game ability that's look for like the first light to the east, and it's like once per game if Gandalf is alive, your opponent gets -1 to their fight duels for the whole, if they were charged, the whole army. And it's like it's global, it's board wide. So it's just like boom, I hit you with my cavalry and just crash. And it's like, oh, it is so cool, man. And I've gotten completely raffle stomped every single game I've played, and I love it. I love it.
Nothing wrong with getting into the game, get raffle stomped. I do it all the time.
I love that like the game can be competitive. I think the game has competitive enough rules to actually be worth going. If I had a better looking army, I would probably play this at AdeptCon this year. And like so the fact that the game can be competitive, like Legion, it's very Legion-ish. Like it's like old school Legion rules, ish, not totally. But you have to play thematic.
Okay.
So it's like, that's so cool. So I can take my Helm's Deep army, which is like a thematic Helm's Deep list with Gimli, Legolas, Aragorn, Theoden, elves, and men, and I can fight your how I was trying to think about it. Like you can fight your Battle of the Five Armies Hobbit army against me. And yeah, that isn't necessarily thematic because they didn't that never happened.
Meshed up, yeah.
Right. But we're both playing like, oh, well, you've got all the cool heroes and oh my gosh, like Luke Skywalker just sucks dick. He just sucks. Why would you play Luke Skywalker? Like that doesn't happen in this game.
Right.
I'm sure that's not 100% true, but like Aragorn is one of the best heroes in the game. Well, yeah, because he's one of the best heroes in the movies. So like you get to play the stuff that is cool, and you're forced to. So that forcing you to makes it balanced, and thematic. So I love that. I want to play this game all the time. Like the only reason I would not put it in S tier is because you haven't played it, and I don't want to make that call with you not having played it.
So I haven't played it. I have been watching a lot. I've been trying to watch stuff while I've been building all of my stuff and getting it ready. Now, what I will say is, to me, it is going to go higher than C tier easily. I think this is now an A tier game.
I'm with you there on A tier.
If I had to nitpick,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, talking to you recently is like one of the major concerns I had for it, which is the mission packs. That they're gonna update, but whenever that's updated, it's probably gonna hit S. Like, don't get me wrong. And I think maybe one other thing I'd like for them to do is maybe change some of their battle boxes, which I know is just a time thing. As time goes on,
there's a lot of stuff that is getting repackaged soon.
Right. So don't get me wrong. Like it's great for what it is. I love the thematics. Everything I've seen and all the matches I've watched are amazing.
So I think if I had to be nitpicky, there are 3 things that I would look at that I don't like.
Okay.
Just to keep it honest, like you were saying there. One is for sure the missions. Right now, we only have 6 missions that are in the core book, and Isaac was telling me that he looked at the old edition's rulebook and they're the exact same missions. So they're not even like, and they're not good missions. They're not good missions. Like they're just very bland and they're a little swingy. Like they're a little random. Like one of the missions you have to roll to get on the board, and it was like, what is this, conquest? Like, and it's like there was a turn where like Isaac didn't get anybody on the board, and I was like, okay. And the game also can't end until somebody's like quartered, and so it's like, well, if you're not on the board, I can't kill you. So why are we even rolling? Like, just be on the board. Like, and so the missions are bad, but there were apparently 24 missions for like actual match play that were actually really good, and we're waiting on those to come out. But until they do, you're right. Missions is a red flag.
Okay.
The other red flag, another strike, is the minis. So the minis are a lot better than I think we give them credit for, but they still aren't amazing. They actually require a little bit more effort to paint because they're smaller, they're more detailed, and they also are older. So some of these older sculpts are, but I've painted like 80+% of the Rohan line now, which is like including 20-year-old models. And I just airbrushed the fire out of them and they still look pretty great. Like they look pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, so hobby wise, we just need a revamp, which we'll probably get to. They're
hopefully
they're definitely writing, the revamp that the community's having for Middle Earth
right
now.
And then the other red flag is there are some mildly swingy moments, and the fact it's kind of the old Age of Sigmar double turn situation where like it's not as bad as a double turn because it's not you don't get to activate your whole army, but like priority roll every turn, like you have to roll to see who gets to move their stuff first every round. And that can be a little annoying. I don't think it's to the point where it's like, oh, the game is decided because you won every priority. It could be, but it's not like, oh man, this is so like egregiously bad because you won priority 2 or 3 turns in a row. Like you still have options, but it does still feel bad.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
All right, we'll put it in A tier. I mean, I would put it above Sigmar and 40K and Judgment even.
I wouldn't go that far.
Whoa. I don't want to play 40K or Sigmar as much as I want to play Middle Earth. Like
that's
you can't.
fair.
40K and Sigmar are they have some of the same complaints that we have about with Legion though, where it's like, all right, I'm going to play my super competitive tournament list, and you're like, well, I want to play my narrative list, and I just lose now. Like,
no, you're right about that. No, don't get me wrong. That was like going back to our other episode about competitive versus
casual.
Casual. But
yeah,
40K, the lore, the sculpts, the universe.
Lord of the Rings sculpts, bro.
I mean, it's Lord of the Rings, but I mean, I just can't get out of that 40K universe, man. Like,
my God, you suck.
I would sit down and play 4 hours with my Dark Angels and love every moment. I don't care if I get stomped.
You're the worst.
Let me play with
know
Azrael out there in the Lion. Let me just have fun.
Right. Fine, whatever. Moving on. Miller's the best game on this whole list. It just is. Yep. Hidden Drew list, secret menu option. So moving along, we've got MCP and B tier. I don't think this changes. I don't think we really have a lot to talk about with this. It's gotten a new like starter box. It's gotten a lot of new minis. The minis are always beautiful when they come out. The game still plays fine, but I don't think there's anything that's really changed. So I don't think the position on the tier list changes.
Right. It hasn't done anything crazy since the last time we did this. Now, I still think it's B tier. I would definitely play it over any of those C tier games.
Sure.
So yeah, let's. I agree. Like if I could still bring out the Web Warriors that I have, and play them, do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you there. So I think it just stays where it's at. Malifaux.
All right, Malifaux. So Malifaux, since we talked about this list, more models and stuff, and I've played games still. I've still kept up with it. I have it on every day. I check it for news. I'm checking for new gaming grounds. Nothing's changed too much. Now, Malifaux to me is still a B tier game. I just love them, since nothing's really changed. New models have come out. Those models are great. My big drawback for Malifaux right now is the sheer number of models. It's too many. It's too many. It's too many to become balanced. Like, they need to sit there, and they called it the Dead Man. They need to go back through all their minis. They need to Dead Man a lot of stuff.
I remember that.
For the not so much competitive, but just even for just like, what's
the
another scene?
Are too many.
Yeah. You need to just say, okay, these are. If you really want to play with a friend, we're just going to cut these off. But
well, because here's the thing: Dead Men are like legacy in 40K, right?
Yeah.
Like you can still play them,
I agree. Yeah, you should be able to still play them if you and your opponent agree, but maybe you just start cutting these off because
Yeah.
my biggest drawback for Malifaux is I love the minis, I love the lore, I love everything about this
Yeah.
game,
And
but
no one else does.
no one else does. But it's the minis are too much. The heroes don't get enough love here and there, and every video I watch, every thing I watch for competitive scene is always the same masters because those masters are just broken because there's some combo due to the sheer number of minis that they can't keep up with. Ward needs
I
to sit there
mean,
and figure that stuff out.
I feel like, yeah, Weird needs to kind of take a step in. But with how you're
Yeah, weird.
talking, I feel like I'm not gonna say it needs to go down to C tier, even though I think it is. But uh, it sounds like it's also not as good as some of the other games I know we've talked about on the B tier list. Like if
Maybe
it's getting
it could
super
go down
repetitive,
lower. It could go to me. To me, it could go down, lower on the B tier. I still think it's one of the best games for the mechanics. I love the soul stones. I love the drawing mechanic. The duels. The duels are so much fun back and forth.
the card mechanic is really unique. I do like
So
that.
I mean, the card mechanic is what really sells me on the game, besides the lore.
Maybe put it like
So
here,
yeah,
middle.
and I still have so much fun with it. I play with my wife still. I play with a buddy. Sadly, the buddy doesn't live in the Oklahoma, so we play on Vassal.
Dave.
But we still get games in, and it's still a great time. So I
Well,
can't put it into C.
let's let you talk about the game we put it beneath then. Kill Team. You ran a league for this
I
last
ran a league.
year.
I ran a tournament. Now the
Yes.
league, I had some touch and goes here and there. I was still not, in love with the game. Still, I was trying to get myself in there. Now, when we held the tournament tipped me over that point. This is now a game that I've fallen in love with. I want to play it more.
Yeah.
To me, this is not even a B tier game. This is now an A tier.
I think it is an A tier too. I'm with you, man. I had a very similar experience. You and I have talked about this a lot, actually. I also kind of want to talk about this from an organizer standpoint too. But the tournament turned it around for me, man. Like I had so much fun at that tournament, just grinding some games out. Like if you just kind of let go and don't think about how like, oh, this meta, this, that, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like you can like theory craft yourself to death on that game. But once you actually put the pedal to the metal there, like it's totally different. Like it feels so much better to play in like a competitive, like a compact competitive scene. I really do like it. And it has a narrative side that we haven't even explored yet that I'm actually excited for as well. But go ahead though before I jump in about it as a TO.
No, I would say as a TO, also just running that one tournament, I would tell you the couple things I would do different. One, I would make sure that I knew what turning sets we had beforehand, all turning sets. I would print out a key for what's heavy terrain and light terrain because that became a big problem here and there. Even though it was explained in some of the books, but not everybody had those books for that.
Right.
So I print out like a key for that. I mean, I went 0-3, but I had a blast the whole time. Some games I was really close to winning. Some games I really wasn't, especially against the Warp Coven. They kicked my butt. But
yeah, I think I went 1-2 and I lost just barely to Harlequins round 1 by like 1 point or something. And then I got completely smoked because of Fruit having a flamethrower that Into the Dark gets like a bunch of extra bonuses or something. Like flamethrowers are better in Into the Dark. And then I beat Tau Pathfinders at the last round. But all 3 games, I just had an absolute blast. And my opponent in the last round was like, "This is like," he told me, he was like, "This is the best game I've ever had." And he's like, "This turned the day around for me." And he lost, and I was so happy to get to be that for somebody.
yeah,
I think we put an A as well. I don't think it's for me. I can't put it above Middle Earth though.
that's fair.
As it does it anyways. So
Yeah,
but
the computer knows.
No, as a TO. The other thing about this game that I like is that it is a smaller board and it's quicker. And so right now, like we have an issue at our store right now where we're doing like a combat patrol league. We had 16 to 18 people there on a Wednesday night last week. And if we weren't playing combat patrol, being able to double up people to a table, if we were all playing big Hammer 2,000 point Warhammer games, we wouldn't be able to fit in our space. Like, because we had to share space with another group of gamers and we wouldn't have had the table space.
Man.
Right. So the fact that like, I mean, having like, I think it was 17 people. That's a ton of people for just a weeknight. And
That
so
is.
having an option, like most of our 40K group started as kill teamers. So the fact that, and they still like it, the fact that we could be like, hey guys, these guys only want to play Big Hammer. Is anybody willing to just play Kill Team and share a table? Like after the league, well, what happens when we only have enough room for 12 people to play Big Hammer?
Right.
Well, if we end up with 14 people, 16 people, we could say, all right, well, let's have 3 Kill Team games and then 5 Big Hammer games. And we could actually do that. And some people might actually be fine, be like, yeah, all right, I'll play Kill Team Night instead. No big deal.
Yeah.
Like, so I really appreciate that option. So personally, if I was to rank A tier, well, I'll do my Drew's picks here after we talk about.
Yeah, let's get through them.
Yeah,
we're still in B tier, my friend.
Necromunda. So Necromunda hasn't really changed either. It's the same song and dance as Malifaux and MCP. There's a reason these games are staying in B tier. Is because they were good, in our opinion, they were good before, but they're not moving up or down because they didn't get worse. And nothing else got better than them, and nothing else got worse than them. And also, like, they didn't change themselves.
Right.
And Necromunda is the same way. Necromunda got a lot, like, I think I got a new starter box, which is looking sweet. It's like a Van Sar versus, like, hybrid cult-looking alien thing. Then they've gotten more minis. They've gotten more love. They've gotten, like, an expansion book, I think. But we don't really play Necromunda. But it is on we're, like, eyeing it up. Like, I want to do Necromunda League this year sometime, like a campaign. And I think it's just kind of, nothing changed, so we're not going to move it up or down. And it's the same thing for Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint also just kind of didn't really change enough. I mean, I know, like, we need to bring some people in that actually play Shatterpoint, maybe as a guest.
Yeah, somebody needs to, like,
or we should take it off our list
here. Yeah, well,
yeah. I mean, it's a relevant game, but we also can't talk a ton about it other than what we get in news articles and watch as, like, battle reports online.
Right.
But it's hard to judge a game we don't play.
Well, I mean, it's definitely hard because we're not. I still know if we want to buy into this game because it's just not anywhere.
It's another game to have to buy, but like I know the game is better than C and D tier.
Okay.
I have played the game, and it's very much like MCP, and in the way that gameplay is. It's not as good as MCP though. But I would rather, if you said, Drew, we have to play a game from B and C tier, and it was like Shatterpoint was on that list, I'd be like, yeah, I would rather play Shatterpoint than Blood Bowl, Kings of War, and Legion.
Okay, fair enough.
So, for what even little knowledge I do have about it. So, all right. Moving on up. A tier. We talked about this before we started recording. 40K and Sigmar are still amazing.
Yeah, I can't move them. They're there.
They're still just there. I don't think they're S tier because they have some, like, obvious flaws. But they're not so bad that, like, they're still amazing. They're still amazing games. They're still some of the best games you could choose to play. Like, I don't really enjoy 40K in a casual, even competitive sense. I just like it from a narrative sense. Like, Jerry and I played the other day, and I brought my narrative list, and he brought, like, a night list that was, like, the new detachment and stuff, and I got my ass whipped. And I was just like, that really wasn't fun, but that's fine, like, because it was also still, like, it was fun enough, right? Does that make any sense? Like, it was fun enough.
Yeah,
and
I mean, if
somebody
somebody
got to play with my big stomping knights and, like, have a good time.
If I got stomped, awesome, but my opponent's awesome, and we can have a good time about it.
Yeah,
and I think it's also if my opponent knows they're winning, like, really hard. Let's just do funny, goofy shit. Then you win,
right.
Cool. I'll handshake you right now. Let's just do some fun shit now.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is, like, you're right. That kind of vibe, right? Like, 40K and Age of Sigmar are kind of some of the only games on this list that, like, you could get raffle stomped, and as long as your opponent's a cool guy, you still had fun. Like, some of these games, if you get raffle stomped, it's like, I don't care if your opponent's a cool guy or not. That just felt bad. Like, so.
Oh, I know.
But I think they just they're locked in. They're probably eternally going to be A tier. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it should just be Warhammer tier at this point. Like, I don't think I'll ever put them in S tier because I have enough gripes about them that I wouldn't. But
I wouldn't say I wouldn't. I won't put them in there now. Now, 11th edition, probably next year, of course. Who knows? Maybe we'll.
They might go down to B tier too, because if you would have asked me, if you would have asked me about 40K at the start of 10th edition, I'd have been like, yeah, it's in the dog shit tier because this game's ass. Like,
Yeah, I would probably put it in the C or low
it
B
would not
because
have been
I
A
mean,
tier.
I was mad with it.
I
A lot
think
of people were.
I think, but okay, but that right there, right? That's it scoped in, right? That's it magnified. The biggest issues are magnified at the start of editions. Like it's always going to be the worst at the start of its edition. That's just the way these James Workshop games are.
Yeah.
But those same issues kind of linger in the background throughout the entire edition. And so that's why to me it can't ever be S tier.
No, probably not for this edition. I said maybe 11th. It can have the potential.
Oh,
It can have the potential.
Sure, it can always have the potential, but we'll see. We'll see.
To come out with the best narrative thing you've ever seen.
Maybe
and you're
so.
Like, oh my God.
if we were doing like grand narrative for Warhammer 40,000, yeah, it'd be S tier. But I can't get that experience every weekend or every Wednesday when I play. Like, because you also are at the mercy of your. So here, I'm gonna throw some red cards out there, some flags, like some taboo topics here. Games are also determined by the people you play with, and I think there are more people in the 40K Sigmar realm that I don't necessarily now. This is not my local community for the record. I'm talking about if I was to go to like an event.
Yeah.
I have a higher chance of playing against somebody that I'm not necessarily like comfortable with at one of those events than I do like an Infinity tournament. Like I've gone to Infinity tournaments for like 6 or 7 years, and I can't remember a single opponent that I was like, you made me uncomfortable, or I was angry with you, or like you made me feel bad, or like
right.
But like that kind of can determine like that's why I said like if your opponent's a cool guy, Warhammer is fun. Like Jerry completely obliterated me. Like turn 1, I lost my Lancer, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be the game.
I'm just here.
Yeah, I'm just here now. But Jerry's awesome. So I was like, all right, Jerry and I are just having a fun time now. But I could have played against somebody else who would have been like, now I got to make sure I get to maximize all my points, and I make sure I get all my knights to kill all your knights, and my admech guys get to move on to these zones, and I got all my secondaries, and like they're trying to like, dude, you already won. It's a Wednesday night. Like, I'm not here to like, who's recording this game? Is there hidden camera?
Is there a tournament? Is there a tournament going on? Like, there's no tournament. Let's just
Ashton Kutcher going to come out of nowhere in a Space Marine suit and be like, you got punked. Like, yeah, like, is this what's about to happen? Like,
here we are unplugged, and this man got
yeah, like, chill, fam. Calm the heckin' down. Like, no, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, no, this is always going to come to, especially with 40K and stuff like that. It's always going to come down to a community and who's chill and not.
And in their defense, a lot of this is just the law of large numbers, right? I think that's the law.
Yeah, that's true. Because like 40K is so popular.
Right. Like we had 17 people. We aren't getting 17 people on a Wednesday night for any other game.
Yeah.
But locally, I don't know about somewhere else. Maybe there's a God community out there for Infinity where every Thursday or whatever they get 80 people playing or something. I don't know. But like for us here in Oklahoma, you know, we've tried to run other games on Wednesdays and they flop. 40K is like the only game we can get to go off on Wednesdays with that many people. And it's still outshining all of our other games. Like 17 people is more than we've had for any of our other games on this list on a weeknight for just a random casual meetup day, other than maybe, like if you're not counting a weekend, right? Like if you're counting like a game night, a weekly game night, we have more people showing up for 40K than anything else I don't know about Sigmar because we don't run Sigmar. So maybe Sigmar equals it, but I don't know. I don't think it does. And that's not a brag. Like I love our Sigmar guys, but like, and I'm sure they've had some pretty high numbers. They run 2-day tournaments too that I love. But like the community for Sigmar and Unplugged is so good.
No, yeah, I'm ready into Sigmar. It's probably gonna be something I get commission painted to get my Sigmar stuff up there.
Oh, whoa!
So I can get into it quicker.
Studio called ASR Miniature Art. They have an Instagram. You should check them out. Yeah,
I definitely will.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's move on. So yeah, I think though, because there's so many variables though, they'll stay A tier because the lore, the models, the rules are still pretty great. You and I can have a blast playing each other. But there's always going to be that, like, you know what I mean? Like S tier is like, if I was going to give a letter grade, a 100% is an S tier, right? 40K is always going to be a 90. There's always going to be 10% that pisses me off.
That's fair.
So anyways, There's only one other game. I've talked a lot. I'm sorry. I
Oh
didn't
my
mean to
goodness.
talk a lot.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm
No,
sorry.
oh, well,
Well,
you're probably gonna talk a lot about this one because I mean,
I'm sorry.
this is my equivalent to my Malifaux. This is Judgment, Eternal Champion.
Oh, no. I'm not. I'm not attached to things like you are. That's weakness, John. Like that is weakness.
I have no weakness.
John is referencing my. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so I'm not going to say too much. But I have worked with this company in ways. Like I mean, I can say like I mean, I've had a one of my minis I painted shown off on their website for their marketing and stuff. I am a big fan. I'm an absolute big fan of Creature Caster, the company. Love them. Like they actually just also are doing a whole faction design for Trench Crusade as well.
That's a game we're gonna have to like look into. That might be something we try to play. It might not.
Wow, John! Just gonna slip that in on the episode so I can't rebuttal it live.
That's right.
Oh wow, yeah, we can. I built my whole kill team, Kit Bashed, to do Necromunda kill team and potentially try Trench Crusade because they're all Deathcore Krieg like Kit Bashed guys, and the Deathcore Krieg have that World War I French trench fighter gas mask look. And that's what it's World War I era. I think it's like 1914 is when Trench Crusade is set in. So,
well,
anyways,
let's talk about your judgment point of view.
We don't have to talk about Trench Crusade. Yeah, we can do a whole episode potentially on knock on wood. I love Creature Caster, and I love Judgment. To be fair, I think it's like a C tier game though.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. C tier is what I was thinking right off the bat.
Like I would put it at the top of C tier. I would even consider bottom of B tier. Like I mean honestly though, like I think I'd rather play it than Shatterpoint. I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't.
So maybe Shatterpoint should be C tier and Judgment should be bottom of B.
Okay. You know what, Judgment? I told you after. I think I said this the last episode. I said if they don't do something,
it's gonna move.
Every time we come on here,
it's gonna go down a level.
It's gonna slowly go down,
and that's fair. That's fair. Let's keep it with that then. It went down one. It went down the bottom of A to bottom of B.
Now, don't get me wrong. They're still coming out with champions. I was kind of looking up because I haven't looked at them too much, but like Carva is a new one. They had a couple goblins
come out. The goblins, yep.
Yeah.
They've had like
this
5
lizard
new
one
heroes.
That came out.
Yeah, it just came out for Gruul.
So I mean, it still looks like fun. It's just
I think the game is good. They're just not doing anything with it.
Yeah, I just think that your maps need to be updated more. Your rules need to have a little bit more. I mean, people, I don't know. It gets a little stale, I would say a little bit, because there's no secondary anything else. It
needs another element of some kind added, like a secondary. Because then it's like, well, our local scene gets so inbred on its list building that it's like, okay, these are the 3 possible lists that will always win at our tournaments. Yeah. Okay, well, why would I buy any new heroes or mix it up? Or I don't have any reason to try anything new, and then that gets stale. And that's
it got pretty stale. We were always talking about ways to try to like give it a lift,
right? And I have an issue with that just in general because we shouldn't be the ones having to give it a lift. The company, the game should.
Right. So sadly, like as soon as it came, it was doing great. We had great numbers, but because of that staleness, it just slowly declined until sadly we just don't have the community anymore here. I mean,
yeah, nobody's playing it anymore.
Yeah. I love the miniatures and love everything about it, but
Noah's back in town. He's back from Air Force Reserves, and I think that's where he was. And he's talked about trying to do something with it. And so maybe, who knows? But I love the game. I love the company. I'm a big fan of the lore. I'm a big fan of the minis. But I also can respect the signs. Like, I would rather play this game than anything else in C tier right now still. But I mean, other than Malifaux, because we can't really do anything about Malifaux. I'd rather play Necromunda. If you were to say, let's go try Necromunda or play a game of Judgment, I feel like let's go try a game of Necromunda. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
fair.
I'd rather play any of these games in the A tier as well. Like, I don't know. I think it's always a weird game. because it's also hard to judge because it isn't the game itself that's having the problem. It's the direction that the game like needs to get going with updates
Right.
and events, and it's a lot of the stuff around the game because the minis are great. The game itself right out of the box is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, we loved it. We loved it for a long time. We ran tournaments for it. Community was growing strong. Everybody's having a great time, but then people just started to be like, well, I played map 4 for the, umpteenth time. I'm always doing this strategy to get souls. There's nothing, and these are the monsters that are always being brought out. I mean, the monsters were so little that you would always get the same tier 4s, the same tier 3s.
Yeah,
and
the
it's just like, okay, this is, and then the maps just needed something more. I at some point I was just like, let's add freaking, elements to the terrain or whatever, like there's something.
Make up our own rules, and I just hate doing that because then it's like, what if we went to a tournament? Well, that practice didn't mean anything.
I bring it anyways.
Right? No, we play this as
we play Judgment 2.0.
This is my house now. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's Judgment. It's kind of a bittersweet game of sorts. Like I think you still like it. You're in your core, but you don't.
Oh no,
like
yeah.
It.
If
it got better, you'd be happy.
If me and you want to, enough time has passed now that I have not played it that I would sit down and be like, yeah, let's play a couple of games. I would have fun with it again. No, I would just have fun. I only have to try this game. This game is awesome.
Yeah,
I would love to play it, but the problem is after I'd be like, yeah, let's build the community. Let's do this. After a month or two of going a week of it, I'd get that staleness back, and I'd be like, yeah, why did I want to do this again?
And as an organizer, I only have so much time and energy. And when I can run a 40K, when I can run a Middle Earth, when I can run a Kill Team, when I can run an Infinity, when I can run a Kings of War, even. Well, I don't know about Kings of War, but like when I can run a game group for one of these other games, and I know it's gonna last longer and get bigger numbers. Like we have like 8 people playing every week for Middle Earth, which blew us the way. That was the sleeper. By the way, everybody, like I don't think anybody kind of expected me to come out swinging with Middle Earth being A tier, but like, dude, it's been a blast, and we have a bigger community than I ever thought we would.
Yeah,
and it looks more promising than Judgment does, and that's kind of a bummer. But yeah.
I mean,
anyways,
I'm kind of hoping, I'm gonna come out this week for 40K. I'm trying to see if I can come out Thursday, and I won't get a game in, but I would love to just watch and learn more
why not
about
just do a demo with me?
I could just do it. Well, I want you to get your games and stuff too,
We'll figure it. We'll talk offline about that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't have any tournaments to go to or anything.
The God tier now, the S tier.
So S tier, it's Infinity, baby, and it ain't going down. It's locked in. This game is so good.
Just right over here. Over here.
How did you do this to us, Corvus Belly? Wow.
Like the Pano faction looks great. The new stuff, I love what they've done for a lot of the rules. I like a lot of the rule changes.
Yeah.
Everything is looking great. The game's got promising. It's got a lot of vitality coming in. They're going to introduce new stuff here soon, and it's just. And even though that you lost sectorials, you're like, I didn't really lose much. You might have lost some things, but it's still just such a fresh game. It's still so much fun. How do you turn? You can't turn this game away. It's too great.
I think also, so the community has a big issue of like they're spoiled. Like we're gonna get hate if anybody from the Infinity community sees this and be like, Drew sucks. But like the only people I feel even remotely sad for are the people who did lose sectorials. Like if their sectorial is just gone now, that does suck.
Yeah.
But also like that's not the end of the world. Like the game is still great. You can buy another faction. A lot of those minis probably still carry over into vanilla or another faction. And there's also a really good chance that your faction just comes back because historically Corvus Belli has made rules for factions that are out of production. Like, and so it may not even be the end of the world for you. So I'm not going to feel sad for you. Like if it's not even guaranteed they're never coming back. And the other thing with it is that they're a little spoiled in the sense of like, well, the wiki isn't up to date. The game was delayed. The rule book has got a typo in it. Like,
so that's all you guys have to deal with?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, the freaking Warhammer 40K app is paywalled.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't pay for their freaking app, then you have to have a rule book, and the rule book sucks.
Yep.
It's not a good rule book, and and by the way, you have to pay for the rule book too.
Yep.
So, like, the app is up to date and it's freaking awesome. The Army Builder app is free and it's freaking awesome. The rule book is free to download and it's PDF clickable, so if you can click a rule, it takes you straight to the page it's on. And so, yeah, there might be a typo here and there. They're fixing that stuff. Yeah, the wiki's down. Dude, the wiki is a live interaction wiki with the Army Builder app. It's going to take a minute to get that up to date. Like, that's not an easy, quick thing. So all this, like, slice of lies hatred that we get is just, oh, it's so annoying sometimes. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love the game.
Imagine, like, I'm going to make an army. Maybe cost me $150, $200. Sure. $200, and you don't have to buy this rulebook and shit. You don't have to worry about codex updates and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're done. Like, come on, guys.
That's amazing.
I'm sitting here paying $600, $700 for my Warhammer,
and it's going to be obsolete in 6 months.
Yeah. My Deathwing Terminators, I just built them all with shields and everything, and they're like, hey, guys, guess what? They don't have fucking shields anymore. We're like, oh. I don't know if I can say that word. We might have to go in.
No, we can say fuck. I don't care.
Okay, good.
No, I always mark this for 18 and older. If there's any children's that listen to this, sorry about you.
Yeah, it's like the shield's gone. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me just hope that one day they bring them back.
Or now they just are there to look cool. So it's like, okay,
like, and people are like, just magnetize. It's like, yeah, okay, I do magnetize some things, but
that's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass sometimes. And I was getting ready for a tournament, and I was just like, hey, I don't have time to magnetize. I just got to go.
This is the only other game on this list outside of Middle Earth, right? The Middle Earth was the other one that I want to play almost like every single day. Like,
that's fair.
We went to a tournament yesterday, or not you and I, but like the store had a tournament yesterday, and I ran it, and I got so jealous of watching everybody else play that Aaron was like, yeah, I kind of want to get a game in today. He drove up to the store and we played a game today. Like, because I wanted to play that bad. Like, it is such a great
You're just like, game. I just want to take control of half their armies and win the effing game. Just come on.
Dude, I didn't even get to do that. All right. He played Tusvasti. Everybody was in like camo. I didn't even get to do that. But I did get to do the Overlord Total Control program on his tag and steal it. So I did get to do that. So that was nice. My Chironted Whip 16 hacker just got the gut punch. Hey, in his defense, round 1, the Chironted is like walking up the board. He had a Malignos reveal from off the table and out of line of sight. Hack my Chironted and Oblivioned it, so it was isolated. So I was like, I'm in Lost Lieutenant like right away. So I spent the rest of my turn to go engineer him and fix him. And then thankfully it was like I went and fixed him and then had everybody kind of like fall back a little bit. And I was able to kill the Malignos, but
that's good.
It was like, oh man, all right. And I kind of just like got the mission done and ran away. So he was putting some pressure on me. But anyways, Infinity is so good. I love Infinity. We're still not masters at it. Like, if anything, that's what yesterday taught me, was that like as the TO, there was so much I didn't know still that I was learning about yesterday. Like, dude, I don't know where in my head HVTs were supposed to be deployed beyond 6 inches of your deployment zone. It's 4 inches.
Is it?
Yeah, I went and looked it up yesterday. Well, because thankfully, so Corey is I believe anyways, he's a WarCrow from Kansas as well. He was one of the people who played. So I was able to at least have a little bit of a backup. Well, like, hey, I can't find this. Is this the rule? And so that was nice. But I love Infinity, man. If I could play Infinity in Middle Earth every day right now, I would. All day.
Honestly, dude, if I could play Infinity, Middle Earth, and probably Warhammer. And Warhammer's just with a lot of buds.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sorry, Warhammer's got to be in there.
That's
Malifaux,
fine.
I could scrub out Malifaux, but I still love the game. And I just need them to do something with it. Please. Please, one of y'all.
It's a judgment issue, right? Where we still know the strengths of the games, like how good the game can be. That like we like it still, but ultimately I think they both are probably C tier.
They're probably gonna start coming down. Yeah. Malifaux is probably gonna come down for me. I still think it's a great game, but if I don't see something probably by the next time we do this, where they do an overhaul or something to make Masters good, because like I said, when I'm looking at tournaments and stuff, same like 6 freaking masters. I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
Your game's on balance if that's all you're getting.
right. And then Tomas won LVO with Judgment, which, like, they had a pretty good diverse pool, but we kind of, if I remember right, when we were all quitting, everybody was like, Tomas is the best god. Like, it was pretty high up there on our, like, it was like Krognar, Ishta, Tomas easily. And Tomas was kind of like the one I don't think we all wanted to admit was the best god. Because we all played Krognar and Ishta pretty heavily, and we are like, no, they're the best. And then it's like, man, but Tomas is
You know,
pretty
it's so
freaking
sad. And
busted.
I'm not trying to like dig or brag, but I got invited to that LVO.
I know you
And
did.
it's the only one I ever got invited to. And I felt so sick of the game because of that stag that was in it that I didn't even want to go. I was like, I
Because of the
know
what?
it was like, it was the repetitive and like how bad I felt for the game and how much I didn't want to play it. I told him, I was just like, yeah, it's cool. It's maybe one of the only times I ever get invited to something. And I still didn't want to go. Still couldn't
Yeah.
convince myself to be like, oh, if you told me, hey, you got invited to, Warhammers or Kill Teams or something like that, I probably would have went. Probably would have said,
Yeah.
honey, I don't know where we'll take it out of this little entertainment budget that we have for the rest of the year and we'll go to this instead.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, why aren't we going to this? And I just told her, I was like, honestly, it's just because
Not worth the money.
it's not worth it to me.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it was. We found the money. We were like, oh yeah, we could go. And I was like, yeah, we could, or we could do something else. And honestly, we're gonna go take a trip and do something else.
Well, I actually got invited to go as well, not as a competitor, but as a member of their team. And unfortunately, I could not go because I was like, I wasn't going to be able to go regardless. But I was like, hey, at the time when I was employed, I was like, I can't ask them for like a week-long trip to Vegas in January when I know I have 2 big-ass trips in March
And that's
that I
fair.
kind of need my brownie points for. And then also when they still kept the offer standing when I told them I got laid off. And I was like, I probably shouldn't be gone for like, it was like literally the week I was laid off. I was like, I probably need some time to just collect myself a little bit here. I shouldn't be just going to Vegas. And
Unless the all expense paid. They
yeah,
told
I
you
mean,
that maybe.
it would have been pretty well paid for.
Yeah,
I don't
fair
think it
enough.
would have been 100% paid for, but like I would have been able to crash in like an Airbnb and just drive out there, basically gas and then food. And then I
Well,
would have worked the booth, I think, with them. But
that would
and they're
be
really
cool.
cool guys. That's what sucks about this too, is like they're such cool guys. I love working with the Creature Caster guys on talking to them about like the community and stuff. And I think the game needs a bit of a push. And I'm
Yeah.
hopeful. I'm hopeful. I don't think it's quite C tier yet, but I'm with you on the Malifaux thing. It just if it doesn't get any love soon enough, and it may not come back.
And let's not, it's getting the same love Malifaux is. They're coming out with new models, but yeah, it just needs
That's not
something
enough.
more. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, buddy, I think this is great for a tier list. I think we should save this and then review it again, in like another
6
quarter or
months.
something. Yeah, or 6 months.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe next time there's a big shakeup.
Maybe add some games if we start trying some different games that we want to add in here.
You know what we could try to aim for? April video, because Adepticon will have a big release for I'm sure all these games. So maybe we try to visit it in April after Adepticon, and then do it again in September after Gen Con.
That sounds great.
So we could just kind of revisit the tier list biannually after big shakeups, and then anytime else in between if we feel like it's needed. So
yeah, I agree with that. Well,
real quick, we need to just for the audible listeners, we need to just say again what the tier list is.
Fair enough.
So for you guys driving around, whatever, not able to look at your phone, please don't jeopardize your life to look at our amazing tier list. S tier, Infinity. A tier, Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age Sigmar, Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game, Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. B tier is Marvel Crisis Protocol, Malifaux, Necromunda Underhive, Judgment Eternal Champions. C tier is Star Wars Shatterpoint, Blood Bowl, Kings of War, Star Wars Legion. And in dog shit, we have Bolt Action, WarCrow, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warcry, A Song of Ice and Fire, Warhammer Old World, War Machine and Hordes, and Conquest.
Now, if you guys agree with us, leave a comment and say you agree. If you guys disagree with us, please tell us why in the comments, and we will try to review it.
Yes, I would love that. I would love to hear the community's feedback on this. Like, we're at 62 subscribers as of recording, which thanks again, everybody. We've come way further than I thought anyways. I don't know about John, but like, I did not think we'd get this many people listening in on us.
I thought we'd have 34 million by now, man.
Sorry, my apologies. My lack of confidence.
I aimed high.
Yeah. I'm thrilled with 62 right now, and we're growing all the time. I think we get like a new sub like every other day. It seems like.
Yeah.
So
thank you all.
Yeah, and just let us know why you think Middle Earth is also S tier in the comments below.
Well, going off the tier list now, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. So let's have a little fun with this.
All right.
We talked about maybe discussing some of the future episode topics that we were thinking about. I also want to talk about we were hinting to this. We don't know if we're actually going to do it or what the timeline would look like for it, but maybe a couple of things that me and you might go drive around a little bit for, but we can discuss what we want to about that.
Okay, do you want to bring it up now?
Yeah, which one would you rather talk? You want to talk about the future episodes or the potential?
I think the future episodes will just kind of come as they are, like, because we always need episode topics. But maybe we should poke the interest of the community to see if they would be. I think there's two other things. It's like future episode topics, also potentially battle reports coming.
Yep.
So hopefully, fingers crossed there. We don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we want it. And then the other one was what you were saying. And John, if you want to go ahead and I think it'd be cool to throw that out.
So, we're Tabletop Tour Guides. We were talking about recently that we should try and find time to travel to other states and look at those game shops and introduce ourselves to those local communities and, figure out how they're doing and see what their layouts are and all that, so, and talk about it, get a little bit of shorts and add those into our episodes.
Do some interviews, maybe. Store owners and community leaders.
We can grow out and be like, hey, if you live around this region, we were checking out this game store and it's awesome. This is what we saw.
That'd be awesome. I would really enjoy doing that. I think that would be something that would be cool to like unite game stores even potentially. Like, who knows if we go to Kansas and we talk to a game store there, they don't know we exist, and we happen to have two big communities for 40K or something, and now they know about our tournaments, we know about their tournaments. And then also it helps any of you guys listening in on, if you didn't know about a store that was like right around the corner from you. So that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping we can get to. We've been discussing it. I've honestly been discussing it with my family and stuff to figure out, try to make sure I could budget for that and everything, which I think we've, since I didn't go to this LVO, we were talking about those funds getting transferred to something else. So
cool.
I'm hoping we can do that, later this year.
Day trip somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I take my Friday and we do like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and just go.
That'd be cool.
Go somewhere.
Maybe we should just do this as an interview series. We could even do local, like with our local game store could be the first interview in the series even. Like we just do it. That's what we'd call it. Interviews of a game store. Something like that. That'd be cool. So if you guys think that'd be awesome, let us know. We'd be happy to hear it. And be sure also to check out any of these games we just went over. Well, not any of them, but a lot of these games we just went over have their own episode. Go and check out that episode to get our raw thoughts on a lot of these editions that drop and compare it to the last tier list episode. See how far our opinions, maybe there's something we've contradicted ourselves on. I love the, we've got our own canon now, John, and people are going to correct us. The continuity doesn't line up. Drew, you specifically said that you liked this Judgment character last time, and this time you said you didn't. So
yeah, you said that 40K would never be A tier again in your heart.
Oh no. Well, actually, flame war us. Let's have a flame war. That gets us subscribers. Please do this. Oh man, John, any final thoughts?
No, man. I think that's it.
Hell yeah, man. This was a good episode. I'm excited to see what people say. Well, for now, everybody, keep on rolling them dice, gobbling them up, spitting them out. Do what you need to get some games in. Bye.
Bye.